In just under a year, I went from charging $50 to $2,000 per a single video as a video editor. And throughout this journey, I learned quite a few lessons, 3 of which that helped me out the most I want to share with you in this video. Also, I'm gonna give you an actionable step from each of the lessons so that you know right away exactly what you need to be working on to increase your prices. Starting off with the thing that separates editors who don't know what to do with high-paying clients just because there is too many of them from the ones who barely get paid for their work. And in June 2023, I was in the second category. That month, I made $600 and was charging around $100 per video. While I wasn't happy with the money I'm making, I realized that I already have put in so much time into this video editing thing, and starting to learn something from scratch like dropshipping just didn't make sense. So I had to make video editing work. And really all I had at the time was the skill of video editing in itself that I learned when making Fortnite montages. But there was absolutely no way for my clients to find me and for me to differentiate from other video editors. So I come up with a solution. I decided that I somehow need to start putting myself out there on social media. At the time, I had a couple of guys that I looked up to in this space on Twitter, and I figured out that would be a perfect place for me to start putting myself out there. But there was one problem. I just didn't know what to post. Then one day I started seeing these Iman Gadzhi style edits just popping off all over Twitter. So I figured if I create something similar, I also have a chance of my post performing well. And that's exactly what I did. I spent 2 days on this Iman Gadzhi style animation. I make it pixel perfect, then finally it's ready. I published it, and I can't say that I broke the internet, but it actually did perform well. The dopamine I was getting from people just liking my post was enough to keep me on this Twitter grind. So I decided that I'm gonna post on there every single day. I stuck with this self-imposed challenge for about a month, but then I just stopped because I had too much client work to deal with. Because I now had a personal brand and a way for people to find me, I started getting potential clients reaching out to me and asking if I could edit their videos. And so I raised my prices from $100 to $150 per video to $500 in literally just a couple of months. Now onto the actionable step. What you want to do is choose a social media platform of your choice. I highly recommend Twitter, but something like Instagram, LinkedIn, maybe TikTok could work. But personally, I don't know anyone who built themselves up from zero on those other platforms, while on Twitter there are hundreds of them. And if you already have client work, that's perfect. Just grab the part of the video that you're the most proud of. Usually that's the intro, and just post that on Twitter. However, the problem with posting just client work, if you're starting from zero, is the fact that you're gonna get zero traction. So there are 2 types of content that I highly recommend if you're starting with 0 followers. The first one is practice edits. What you want to do is go on YouTube and find footage for you to edit. If you're into faceless documentaries, that's going to be very easy to do because all you need is a voiceover. And then you just add your visuals on top of that. And if you're into talking head videos, you can take one of these raw videos that started to pop up on YouTube lately and edit it yourself. And by the way, since these videos are raw, the guys in them just tend to yap about random stuff. And if you could try to identify those tangents and remove them to craft a coherent storyline, that would be such a great practice for your storytelling skills. And that's something I highly recommend you doing. The key with practice edits though is put your best into them, even though you're not getting paid. It's always worth to put extra time into these videos because first of all, that's how you improve. And second of all, the better the final result gonna be, the more chance you have of it popping off on Twitter. For example, this Oscar guy used to get 0 traction on this client's projects, then made this sick ass practice intro that popped off, and now all of his other posts are doing well too. The second type of content you want to post on Twitter if you're starting with 0 followers is some sort of education for other video editors. You definitely use workflow tips, cool effects, useful tools in your editing that I myself, as well as other video editors, might not know. And so what you do is you share these on Twitter. I did a bunch of that back in the day, so you can just scroll down my profile to get some inspiration. The problem with these is that they're made for video editors and not creators specifically, so you're probably not gonna get a lot of potential clients reaching out to you from these. But the fact that this educational content performs really well helps you with two things. First of all, it builds you authority in the space, and second of all, it just makes all of your other posts perform way better too. And also, it's not impossible to land clients from these. Back in the day, I actually got a really nice $400 per video client reaching out to me because of the educational thread that I made for other video editors. Alright, now that you have a brand and clients start coming to you, you gotta figure out how to actually deliver the video. And that's where the majority of video editors fail. Let's say your goal is to charge 1K per video. You gotta understand that no one is gonna pay you $1,000 on a week-by-week basis just for fun. The person who can afford that isn't treating YouTube like a hobby anymore. It's a full-on business and it's profitable. For it to stay profitable, you have to edit videos for them then to be published and make money for your client. If you screw up, your client is literally losing money. Then how do you expect to get paid yourself? So if you want to charge a lot of money for your editing, you gotta become reliable and treat this thing like your job. The most important and I think the hardest part of being reliable is meeting deadlines. But other things are inconsistent communication and not being consistently available for work. Luckily, I think all of the being unreliable issues are fixed with just one actionable step. Keep your clients in the loop. What that means is when the client sends you footage for the video and the deadline is a week, don't just disappear for 6 days and then get back to them with the first draft. It's not the worst case scenario because you technically actually met the deadline, but the problem is that the client wasn't sure this whole time if you're actually working on the video or not. And if you miss the deadline, then it gets real bad. So to avoid that, instead of disappearing, just tell the client that you're gonna have cuts done by tomorrow midday, let's say. And if the client is down to collaborate a bit more, you can also tell them that you're gonna upload the cut version to frame.io and they can feel free to check it out to see if the length of the video is fine, if they want to remove, add, or rearrange something. After you get the cuts done, keep setting these mini deadlines for yourself by telling the client, I'm gonna have graphics fully done by Wednesday evening. And again, if you actually send that version with done graphics to the client, it adds an extra layer of accountability, which personally for me works wonders. Keeping your client in the loop is gonna ensure that first of all, you don't put off the video until the last minute and miss the deadline. And secondly, your client now knows that you're actually working on the video and they can completely trust you on that. So congratulations, you're reliable. But majority of the time, you won't get the video exactly right from the first draft. And that's where the most important part of the process comes in, the feedback. While most editors get pissed off at clients' revisions, I actually think that the feedback is your biggest chance to improve. I want you to start seeing things from the client's perspective. The person who can afford to pay their editors thousands per month is naturally extremely busy. They would love not to give you feedback at all, publish the video as you sent it to them, and just carry on with their day. But what usually happens is you don't quite get it right from the first time, and now they have one more task on their to-do list: to sit there on frame.io and review the video. That's only because they need to make it better, not because they want to shit on you. So never take clients' feedback as a personal harassment attempt. On top of that, again, the person who can afford to pay you 1K or beyond per video is intelligent. They might not be that good at technical aspects of video editing, like the easing of the keyframes and all that nerdy stuff, but at the end of the day, you're editing the video to make it more pleasantly watchable for the viewer. And in this scenario, your client is the first viewer, who also happens to know his niche, target audience, what made past videos perform good or bad, and is intelligent. So client indeed might know better. And want to hear the best part? Not only taking feedback well will improve your editing, it's also gonna make you such a valuable asset for the client long term. Think about it, not only they invest shit ton of their money into you, but also their time. Because giving feedback is basically coaching. And because they're busy and rich, their time is valuable. If you want to charge $1,000 per video, then all you need to do is to make your client's life easier enough so that they're willing to pay $1,000 for that. And freeing up their time is literally the best way to make their life easier, because busy and intelligent people value their time highly. So the actionable step here would be to actually take a second to think about why did client give you this particular revision. Because first of all, that's gonna improve your editing. But also, over time, you're gonna learn all the ins and outs of this specific client's videos to the point where you aren't gonna be getting revisions at all, which makes the job a lot easier for you, but also, most importantly, saves your client so much time and mental space that they're gonna be willing to pay you whatever. If you found this video valuable, then like, subscribe, and please let me know down in the comments which of the lessons you want me to dig deeper into, because really I can make a separate video about each of them. Anyway, cheers, and I'll see you in the next one.